Have you ever noticed that life feels lighter, more magical when you truly let go? When you stop trying to control everything and just breathe? Today I'm going to share something that changed my life completely, and I know it will change yours too. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath. This simple act of being present, of letting go, this is where your power lies. Not in struggling, not in fighting, but in surrendering to the infinite intelligence within you. You see, most people live their entire lives in a state of resistance. They're constantly pushing against what is, fighting what could be, worrying about what might be. But I'm here to tell you something that might shock you. The universe isn't separate from you. It's an extension of your consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're truly happy. In those moments, you're not trying to control anything. You're simply being. This state of being, this natural flow, this is your true power. But most never realize this because they're too busy trying to make things happen. Let me share something profound with you. Every time you worry about the future, every time you stress about how something will work out, you're actually resisting the natural flow of life. You're telling the universe you don't trust it. And what you resist persists. I remember a time when I was constantly trying to control everything in my life. Every detail, every outcome. I was exhausted, frustrated, and nothing seemed to work out the way I wanted. Then I discovered something that changed everything. The power of letting go. You see, letting go isn't about giving up. It's about understanding that there's an intelligence far greater than your conscious mind at work. When you truly grasp this, something magical happens. Life starts working for you instead of against you. Think about when you're falling asleep. You don't try to fall asleep, do you? You relax and allow sleep to come. This same principle applies to everything in life. The more you try to force things, the more they resist. The more you let go and trust, the more naturally things flow. Most people approach life like they're swimming upstream, constantly fighting against the current. But what if I told you that everything you want is actually downstream? What if all you need to do is stop struggling and allow yourself to flow with life instead of against it? The universe operates through perfect law. Just as gravity doesn't sometimes work and sometimes doesn't, it's always working. The law of consciousness is always working too. Your only job is to align yourself with it through the art of letting go. Consider this. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You know that the seed contains everything it needs to become what it's meant to be. Your desires are exactly the same. Most people don't realize that they're constant checking their anxiety, their need to control. These are the very things preventing their desires from manifesting. It's like constantly digging up the seed to see if it's growing. When you truly understand the art of letting go, you'll notice something remarkable. Things start working out better than you could have planned. It's as if life itself is orchestrating events in your favor. But this can only happen when you get out of your own way. Think about breathing for a moment. You don't control each breath, do you? There's something within you that knows exactly how to breathe, how to digest food, how to make your heart beat. This same intelligence knows exactly how to bring your desires to fruition. I've observed that most people live in a state of constant tension. They're always trying to figure everything out, always trying to make things happen. But life doesn't work that way. Life unfolds naturally when you allow it to. Consider how a flower blooms. It doesn't strain or struggle. It doesn't try to force its petals open. It simply allows the process to unfold naturally. This is exactly how manifestation works, through allowing, not forcing. The secret that most miss is this: your natural state is one of ease and flow. Struggle is learned. Anxiety is learned. Trust and relaxation are your natural state, just as they were when you were a small child. Most never realize that their power lies not in doing, but in being. When you're in the right state of consciousness, life moves you toward your desires automatically. You don't have to figure out how. I think about when you're in a state of complete trust. Notice how everything seems to work out effortlessly. This isn't coincidence. This is the natural result of letting go and allowing the infinite intelligence within you to work on your behalf. Your only job is to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled. Not through effort or strain, but through relaxed awareness. Just as you naturally accept that the sun will rise tomorrow, accept that what you desire is already yours. I've watched countless people struggle because they think they need to make things happen. But I tell you this, everything you want is already created. Your job is simply to relax into the state where it exists. Consider how easily water flows around obstacles. It doesn't fight them. It doesn't try to break them down. It simply finds another way. This is how you should move through life, with fluid adaptability and trust. Most people approach manifestation like it's a battle to be won. But I tell you this, it's a garden to be tended. Plant your seed, your desire, water it with attention, and then let it grow naturally. Think about when you're deeply relaxed, perhaps just before falling asleep. In those moments, your mind isn't racing to solve problems. You're simply being. This state of relaxed awareness is where your true power lies. Most never understand that their anxiety about outcomes is actually creating resistance to those very outcomes. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. Release the brake of worry and watch how naturally things begin to flow. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people finally grasp this truth, that their only job is to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not through effort or strain, but through relaxed, natural knowing. Consider how effortlessly your heart beats, how naturally your lungs breathe, how perfectly your body maintains its temperature. This same intelligence knows exactly how to bring your desires into reality. Trust it. The secret that transforms lives is this: your external world must conform to your internal state. But this doesn't happen through force. It happens through surrender, through letting go of the how, and trusting in the perfect law. Think about times when things worked out perfectly without your intervention. Remember that feeling of pleasant surprise? That's what happens when you get out of your own way and allow life to work for you. Most people live in a state of constant mental chatter, always trying to figure everything out. But I tell you this, your intellectual mind is not equipped to orchestrate the infinite details required to manifest your desires. Let go and trust. Consider how naturally a river flows to the ocean. It doesn't stress about the path. It doesn't worry about obstacles. It simply flows, knowing it will reach its destination. This is how you should live, in complete trust of the process. Your power lies in your ability to feel the reality of your desire now, while completely letting go of how it will manifest. The how is not your concern. Your only concern is maintaining the state of having already received. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that letting go isn't giving up. It's surrendering to a higher intelligence that knows far better than their conscious mind how to bring about their desires. Think about when you're truly in the flow of something you love. Time disappears, worry vanishes, and everything seems to happen perfectly. This state of flow is your natural state. The more you trust, the more you experience it. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still. Not a physical stillness, but a mental stillness. When your mind is still, when you're truly at peace with where you are, that's when magic happens. Consider how a seed becomes a tree. It doesn't happen through force or struggle. It happens through a natural unfolding, a perfect sequence of events that the seed doesn't need to control or understand. Think about how naturally you trust that night will turn to day. You don't lie awake wondering if the sun will rise. This same level of natural trust must be applied to everything you desire. It's not blind faith, it's understanding the law. Most people live in a state of constant seeking, always looking for their desire to manifest. But this very state of seeking implies that what you want is absent. The secret is to live as if you already have what you desire. I've watched people struggle for years because they keep trying to control the process. But when they finally let go, when they truly surrender to the perfect law within them, everything begins to shift effortlessly. Consider how easily you accept your own reflection in a mirror. There's no doubt, no questioning. This same level of natural acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Feel it as real as your reflection. The secret that changes everything is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is an effect, a shadow of your state. But most people spend their lives trying to change the shadow instead of changing the state that cast it. Think about when you're completely absorbed in something you love. You are not trying to make anything happen. You're simply being. This state of pure being, free from anxiety and effort, is where true creation occurs. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still and know. Not intellectual knowing, but a deep, unshakable knowing that transcends logic and external evidence. Consider how naturally water takes the shape of its container. Your consciousness is like water. It takes the shape of whatever state you pour it into. Choose your state wisely, for it will manifest in your world. Your external reality is nothing more than your internal state pushed out. But this doesn't mean you need to force changes. It means you need to relax into the state where what you desire already exists. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that letting go isn't a passive state. It's an active trust in the perfect law. They know that what they desire is already theirs in consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're completely at peace. There's no struggle, no effort, no trying to make things happen. This state of peace is actually your most powerful creative state. Most people approach their desires like they're reaching for something far away. But I tell you this, your desire isn't out there somewhere. It's a state of consciousness that you must occupy now. Consider how naturally you accept that spring follows winter. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the fulfillment of your desires. Think about the feeling of complete certainty you have about simple facts, like knowing your own name. That same level of certainty, that same absence of doubt, must be applied to your desires, not through force, but through understanding. Most people live in constant anticipation, always waiting for their desire to manifest. But this state of waiting keeps pushing the manifestation into an endless future. The secret is to live as if it's already done. I've witnessed the most remarkable transformations when people finally grasp that their power lies not in doing, but in being. When they stop trying to make things happen and start allowing things to unfold naturally. Consider how effortlessly you fall asleep when you're truly tired. You don't force it, you allow it. This same principle applies to manifestation. The more you try to force it, the more it eludes you. The more you allow, the more naturally it comes. The secret that most miss is this: your imagination isn't showing you possibilities. It's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. Your job is simply to occupy the state where your desire exists. Think about how you feel when you remember something that actually happened. There's a certain solidity to it, a realness. Your desired state must feel just as solid, just as real, just as unquestionable. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to feel the reality of their desire more intensely than they feel current circumstances. When you master this, manifestation becomes automatic. Consider how naturally you accept the changing of seasons. You don't resist it, you don't doubt it. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Your consciousness is like a signal you're constantly broadcasting to the universe. The clearer the signal, meaning the more stable your state, the faster the manifestation. But clarity comes through relaxation, not effort. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances don't create state. State creates circumstances. They lie from the end, feeling it real now. Think about how you feel when you're absolutely certain about something. You don't try to make it true, you know it's true. This is the feeling state that manifests instantly. Most people approach manifestation like it's something they need to figure out. But I tell you this, it's already figured out. Your only job is to occupy the state where what you desire already exists. Consider how naturally you accept your own existence. You don't question it, you don't doubt it. This same level of unquestionable acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Think about how easily you accept that your reflection in a mirror is yours. There's no doubt, no questioning. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your desires. They are as much yours as your reflection. Most people live in a state of constant comparison, always measuring where they are against where they want to be. But this very act of comparison keeps them stuck in the state of wanting. The secret is to live from the state of having. I've watched countless individuals transform their entire lives when they finally understood that their power isn't in changing thinking. Consider how naturally you accept that when you drop something it will fall. You don't doubt gravity. This same unwavering acceptance must be applied to the law of consciousness. It's just as reliable as gravity. The secret that changes everything is this: your external world has no choice but to reflect your inner state. It's not personal, it's law. Just as a mirror must reflect what stands before it, your world must reflect your consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're completely immersed in doing something you love. Time disappears, worry vanishes, and you're simply being. This pure state of being is where true creative power lies. Most never realize that every moment of discomfort is actually a call to shift states. When you feel dissatisfied, it's not the circumstance that needs to change. It's your state of consciousness. Consider how naturally you accept that tomorrow will come. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural confidence must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Your power to create isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you're using every moment. The question is, are you using it consciously or unconsciously? I have observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that their state of consciousness is like a frequency they're broadcasting. The clearer and more consistent the frequency, the faster the manifestation. Think about how you feel when you remember something that actually happened. There's a certainty to it, an unquestionable reality. Your desired state must feel just as certain, just as real. Most people spend their lives trying to manifest from a state of wanting, not realizing that wanting can only create more wanting. The secret is to manifest from a state of having. Consider how naturally you accept the air you breathe. You don't doubt its presence. You don't worry about its availability. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your desires. Think about how effortlessly water finds its level. It doesn't struggle, it doesn't force, it simply flows. Your manifestation should come just as naturally, just as effortlessly when you're in the right state. Most people live in a constant state of mental warfare, fighting against their current reality while trying to create a new one. But this very fight creates resistance. The secret is to relax into your desired state as naturally as you relax into sleep. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people finally grasp that their only task is to maintain the feeling of their desire fulfilled, not through strain or effort, but through natural, relaxed awareness. Consider how easily you differentiate between hot and cold. You don't think about it, you just know. This same level of immediate, unquestioning knowing must be applied to your desired state. The secret that most never realize is this: your imagination isn't showing you fantasies, it's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes instantaneous. Think about how naturally you accept that your heart will keep beating. You don't worry about it, you don't try to control it. This same level of natural trust must be applied to the manifestation of your desires. Most never understand that their power lies not in what they do, but in the state from which they do it. The same action taken from different states produces entirely different results. Consider how easily you recognize your own voice. There's no doubt, no questioning. Your desired state must feel just as familiar, just as undeniably yours. Your external world is nothing but your internal state made visible. But this doesn't mean you need to fight against current circumstances. Simply occupy the state where what you desire already exists. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances are shadows. And you can't fight a shadow. You can only change the object casting it, your state of consciousness. Think about how naturally you accept the ground beneath your feet. You don't question whether it will support you. This same unquestioning trust must be applied to the law of consciousness. Most people approach manifestation like it's a battle to be won. But I tell you this, it's a state to be occupied. When you occupy the right state, everything else adjusts automatically. Consider how easily you know whether you're happy or sad. You don't need to think about it. You just know. This same immediate knowing must be applied to your desired state. Think about how naturally you accept that after every night comes day. This isn't hope or wishful thinking, it's knowing. Your desired state must feel just as certain, just as inevitable. Most people live in constant mental turmoil, always torn between what is and what could be. But this very division keeps them stuck. The secret is to be single-minded in your consciousness of the desired state. I've watched countless lives transform when people finally understand that their power lies not in changing things on the outside, but in changing the state from which they view everything. Consider how easily you know your own name. There's no doubt, no questioning, no need for evidence. Your desired state must feel just as natural, just as undeniably yours. The secret that changes everything is this. Your consciousness is like a radio signal you're constantly broadcasting. The universe has no choice but to respond to your frequency. But most people keep changing stations. Think about how naturally you accept that spring follows winter. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still. Not physical stillness, but mental stillness. When your mind is truly still, truly at peace with your desired state, that's when magic happens. Consider how effortlessly you recognize your own reflection. You don't need to convince yourself it's you. You just know. This same level of natural recognition must be applied to your desired state. Your external reality is nothing but your internal state projected outward. But this projection isn't something you need to force. It happens automatically when you maintain the right state. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that their job isn't to make things happen, but to occupy the state where things have already happened. Think about how naturally you accept that water is wet. You don't question it, you don't doubt it. This same unquestioning acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Most people spend their lives trying to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. But I tell you this, there is no gap except in consciousness. Consider how easily you know whether you're awake or asleep. This knowing isn't something you achieve, it's something you experience. Your desired state must be experienced just as naturally. Think about how naturally you accept that your eyes see color. You don't question it, you don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your manifestations. Most people live in a state of constant seeking, always looking outside themselves for evidence of their desires. But this very act of seeking implies absence. The secret is to live from the state of fulfillment. I've witnessed the most profound transformations when people finally grasp that their only responsibility is to maintain the feeling tone of their desire fulfilled, not through force, but through relaxed awareness. Consider how effortlessly you know whether you're hungry or full. There's no debate, no questioning. Your desired state must feel just as undeniable, just as real to your consciousness. The secret that most miss is this. Your imagination isn't simply showing you possibilities. It's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. Your job is to occupy these realities through feeling. Think about how naturally you accept that ice is cold. You don't need proof, you don't question it. This same level of natural knowing must be applied to your desired state. Most never understand that their power lies not in what they do, but in the state from which they do it. The same action taken from different states produces entirely different results. Consider how easily you recognize your favorite song. The moment you hear it, you know it. Your desired state must be just as instantly recognizable to your consciousness. Your consciousness is like the soil in which all seeds of possibility grow. But most people keep digging up their seeds to check if they're growing, not realizing that this very act prevents growth. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances don't create consciousness. Consciousness creates circumstances. Think about how naturally you accept that fire is hot. There's no doubt, no need for proof. Your desired state must feel just as undeniably real. Most people approach manifestation like it's something they need to achieve. But I tell you this is something you need to allow. It's already done in consciousness. Consider how effortlessly you know whether you're comfortable or uncomfortable. This immediate knowing must be applied to your desired state. It's not something you figure out, it's something you feel.
Do you not know that your own wonderful human imagination is God? That which you whisper within yourself, that silent conversation you carry from sunrise to sundown, is crafting the world in which you walk. Speak now as one who has already received. For 3 days, speak to yourself as though what you desire is already so. Not as though it will be, not as though it might be, but as though it is. Do not wait for the evidence of the senses. They will lie to you. They will show you lack. They will echo yesterday's beliefs. They will parade shadows before your eyes and call it substance. But you, chosen one, must speak as one awakened from the sleep of doubt. Say to yourself, I am the one I have longed to become. All that I need flows to me now. I am already that which I seek. Let this inner conversation be your secret prayer, your sacred chant, your holy affirmation. The world is yourself pushed out. What you accept inwardly, the world must wear outwardly. For 3 days, refuse to entertain the old man, the former self who cried out in limitation. When fear arises, do not wrestle with it. Simply return to your inner speech and say, that is not my truth. I walk now in the fulfillment of all I desire. Talk to yourself as one who holds the power. Speak with authority, not to others, but to your own soul. For your soul is listening. It obeys the voice it hears most often, not the one from the lips, but the one within. Be not moved by appearances, for appearances are but the echo of what you once assumed. Begin anew. Assume a new inner tone. Speak joy even when sorrow lingers outside the door. Speak abundance even while the purse seems empty. For in 3 days of unwavering inner talk, a new pattern begins to crystallize in the invisible. And what is unseen today will be seen tomorrow. Pressed down and running over. Say it now in the stillness. I am chosen. I am guided. I am the source of all that I behold. And then, throughout the day, return again and again to this inner sanctuary. Talk to yourself not as one seeking, but as one who has already found. For the voice within you is the voice of creation. Speak and it shall be so. You will find that the world bends to the tone of your inner voice. Not the outer voice spoken aloud, but the silent declaration you repeat to yourself in the solitude of your mind. That voice, that tone, that assumption is the creative law. For 3 days, refuse to argue with facts and instead converse with the truth that lives in your heart. Not the truth of the senses, but the truth of the imagination. In that sacred realm where all things are possible and all things are now. You are not here to react to the world, you are here to create it. Every time you say within yourself, I am, you are setting into motion a current of unseen energy that will in time harden into fact. So say it with awareness, say it with feeling. Say it until the walls of your inner mind ring with the echo of your assumption. Say, I am free, I am healed, I am prosperous, I am loved, I am chosen, I am whole. And then rest in the silence, knowing that the seed has been planted. Your inner speech is always planting. Whether it be the seed of joy or the seed of despair, it matters not to the law. The law gives to every man according to the imaginal act he accepts as true. So take up your power now and choose wisely what you say to yourself. For every idle word, every internal whisper is the molding force behind your future. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve both fear and faith. You must choose this day whom you will serve. And once chosen, you must be loyal to your assumption, as a bride is loyal to her beloved. Dare to believe that your word has power. Dare to believe that your inner conversations are the foundation of the world in which you walk. You will see in just 3 days, if you persist without wavering, a stirring in the depth of reality. Something will shift. Some letter will arrive, some phone will ring, some door will open. For the word you have spoken in the depths must be fulfilled. It cannot return void. It must accomplish that which you please and prosper in the thing whereto you send it. This is not a matter of willpower. It is not a game of striving. You are not to force yourself to believe. You are simply to assume. Assume and then allow. Speak within and then rest. Act as though it were impossible to fail. Talk to yourself with calm certainty, not begging, not pleading, but affirming with the ease of one who knows the outcome is assured. The more natural it feels to say, I am that, the quicker the outer will mirror the inner. Do not look to man for confirmation. Look only to the imaginal act. Man is but the vessel through which your inner speech flows into form. He has no power of himself. The world, the people, the events, they are the clay. You are the potter. So speak into your being the form you desire to see. If the outer contradicts it, turn away and speak again. I remember when I was searching, but now I live in the answer. That phrase alone is a mighty tool. Speak of your desire in the past tense, as though it has already come and gone. I remember when I struggled with that, how different life is now. These are words of mastery. There, let no one discourage you. Let no voice, however loud, shout down the whisper of your own inner knowing. It is not in the volume that power is found, but in the certainty. Even a gentle inner tone, repeated faithfully, will cause the mountains of resistance to crumble. Keep your focus inward. Let the world do what it may. It is not the master. It is the servant. Practice this sacred art. When you wake in the morning, before your feet touch the floor, speak to yourself from the end. Say, thank you that this day flows perfectly. Thank you that I am in the right place at the right time. Thank you that I am loved and supported, not because you see it yet, but because you have claimed it. Do not beg the world to give you proof. Speak it and it shall be. Say it and the heavens will move. At night, before you close your eyes, review the day as you would have wanted it to be. Rewrite the conversations, reshape the encounters, rehearse the triumph, for this too is speech. Imaginal speech, visioned conversation, and it creates just as surely as the spoken word. What you revise within yourself, the world will reflect. This is a secret few dare to test, but those who do find themselves walking in miracles. When you find your mind wandering to fear, gently but firmly bring it back. Speak again. I walk in peace. I dwell in abundance. I rest in knowing that all things are working for my good. Do not allow stray thoughts to build temples in your mind. Be the guardian of your inner world, for as within, so without. 3 days of loyalty to the inner word. That is all it takes to begin a change so profound the world will marvel. Even now, you are shaping your tomorrow. Even now the mold is being cast. So speak the words that align with your vision. Do not say, someday it will come. Say, it is done. I walk in it now. Feel the emotion of the wish fulfilled. Let your words carry the fragrance of fulfillment. Let your tones suggest completion, not desire. You are not calling something from afar. You are claiming what is already yours by divine right. Speak tenderly to yourself. Speak boldly. Speak with assurance, for your words are not empty. They are charged with the life force of creation. You are not the beggar at the gate. You are the heir of the kingdom. Talk to yourself like the beloved child of infinite intelligence. Say what you wish others would say to you. Speak the approval, the love, the encouragement. You need not wait for another to give it. Give it to yourself, and the world will follow. Do not gossip with your fears. Do not rehearse what you do not want. Your subconscious does not argue, it accepts. So give it only the seed you desire to grow. Say, everything is unfolding in my favor. I am guided by unseen hands. I am a magnet for all that is good and true and beautiful. Speak it while driving. Speak it while walking. Speak it in the silence of the night. For 3 days, be unrelenting in your devotion to the new word. This is the law and the promise, that if you abide in the assumption, if you dwell in the state of the fulfilled desire, then reality must conform. But you must not waver. The double-minded man receives nothing, for he speaks one thing and lives another. Be single in vision, single in speech. What you say to yourself, make it the dominant story. Let it ring louder in your soul than any fact on the outside. You are the operant power. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You create them, sustain them, dissolve them, and all by your inner talking. You have spoken yourself into your present life, and you can speak yourself into a new one. The power is not in the condition. The power is in your response. Speak not of the problem, speak from the solution. Speak not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. And, should doubt rise up, do not be alarmed, simply return to your word. Like a sailor steering by the stars, keep your eye on the inner vision. Keep repeating the phrase, keep walking in the tone, keep assuming the state. In time, the waves will still and the land will appear. For it is law, and the law cannot lie. Let the words I am be the key to your kingdom. Say it with reverence, say it with joy. Let every sentence that follows be a decree. I am wealthy. I am radiant. I am protected. I am aligned. These are not hopes, they are proclamations of truth. You are not speaking to change the world, you are speaking because you know it already has changed in the unseen. Do not measure the harvest by the hour. Do not look at the seed and demand the fruit. Speak and keep speaking. Believe and keep believing. For 3 days walk in this way. Let no word contradict the state you have claimed. And if you stumble, begin again. For every moment is a new beginning, and every word a fresh creation. You will come to see that this is the greatest secret ever kept. That reality is obedient to your voice. That your assumptions become flesh. That the world is a mirror, not a master. And when you talk to yourself like one who is already there you shall be. Continue now with the same devotion, and let your inner voice be the light that guides the way. For what you are saying to yourself is no small matter. It is the law in motion. You are casting the mold into which the substance of life must flow. What you repeat, what you dwell upon, what you feel to be true in the quiet chambers of your mind, that is what appears in the open. You have tried before, perhaps, but with divided attention. You have spoken the truth one moment and undone it with doubt the next. But now, for 3 days you will remain faithful. Not because it pleases the world, but because it transforms your world. You will carry the tone of fulfillment through every corridor of your day. When fear knocks, you will not open the door. When the old voice rises up and says, "But it hasn't happened yet," you will answer with, "It has already happened in me, and that is enough." Let the inner speech be a sacred current running beneath all you do. As you stir your coffee, say, "Life is sweet to me." As you walk down the street, say, "I am aligned with divine flow." As you rest your head, say, "I sleep in peace, for I am kept in perfect harmony." These are not idle phrases. They are spells, incantations of power. They are the bridge from what is imagined to what is lived. Do not chase science. Do not chase evidence. That is not your work. Your work is the speech within. The rest must come. By law, it must respond. The outer is not your master. You do not need to convince others, explain yourself, or try to make things happen. Speak the word in secret, and your Father, which is your own imagination, will reward you openly. It does not matter who understands you. It only matters that you understand your own power. Do you not see? You have always been talking to yourself. But now you are choosing the words. Now you are directing the current. Now you are disciplining the tongue of the inner man. No longer will you say, "It's not working." No longer will you entertain stories of lack or delay. You will say only that which lifts, only that which fulfills. You will say, "It is done. I am that now." If you truly knew the power of your words, you would never speak against yourself again. You would never doubt again. You would never say, "I can't," or "It's too late." You would instead say, "I am becoming more each day. Everything is aligning in my favor." These phrases become the rhythm of your life. They shape your tone. They shape your posture. When you walk into a room, walk in as though you belong. When you speak to others, speak as one who knows the end is secure. Talk to yourself with a tone of certainty. That tone is everything. If you say the words but do not carry the feeling, you are like a cymbal with no sound. But if you say it with inner knowing, the universe bends to meet you. Let this speech rise in you like a song. Let it be your anthem in the morning and your lullaby at night. I am blessed beyond measure. I am chosen for greatness. I am the living proof of unseen power. Say it until your bones believe it. Say it until the words become flesh. And they will. It must. Your inner speech is not a technique. It is not something you use to get what you want. It is the very way of life. It is how you claim your identity. And identity precedes manifestation. You become the thing you assume. So assume the highest. Assume the noblest. Assume the most radiant version of yourself. And speak only from that place. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you, waiting on your assumption, your decision, your word. The moment you speak from the end, creation begins to rearrange itself. Invisible hands go to work, the actors take their places, the scenery changes, all because you dared to say, it is done. 3 days is all it takes. 3 days of consistent, faithful inner speech, not to convince the world, but to convince yourself. For the moment you are convinced, the world cannot help but reflect it. The mirror does not shape the face shapes the mirror. Your mind is the face, your world the mirror. Speak as the face, speak as the origin, speak as the source. And when you grow tired, rest, but do not undo your work. Even your rest can be powerful. Say, I rest knowing all is well. I sleep in the arms of my fulfillment. Let every word be a seed planted in good soil. Let every phrase be rich with life. And should weeds arise, the doubts, the fears, the memories of lack, simply replace them. Uproot them with new words. Do not water them. Do not argue with them. Just replace them. Again and again, until only the true voice remains. For you are not a victim of memory. You are the author of imagination, and imagination creates reality. You are not bound by what was. You are free in what is and what will be. And all of it begins in speech. Silent, holy, inner speech. Do you feel it now? That quiet authority rising in you? That knowing that you are not here to suffer, not here to wish, but here to create. The kingdom is within you, and your word is the scepter by which you rule. No more idle talking, no more rehearsing the past, no more preparing for failure. From this moment, you speak only as the one who has. You speak only from the mountain, not the valley. Let your speech be clean, let it be radiant, let it be full of life, and let it never contradict your assumption. For the speech of the inner man is the covenant. It is the sacred bond between the seen and the unseen. When you say, I am, heaven listens. When you say, it is done, angels move. When you say, I have it now, the whole creation begins to reflect that claim. So speak with reverence, speak with joy, speak with the ease of one who knows the treasure is already his. And as you do, the air around you begins to change. People respond differently. Doors open, events unfold, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. The word became flesh because you first gave it form. And should you falter, do not fall into condemnation, simply begin again. The mercies of creation are new every morning. Return to your word, speak again the truth. Let every moment be a turning point. You need not wait for the calendar to shift. Your change begins now. With the next phrase you repeat to yourself. You may not yet see the full harvest, but the seed is alive, it is working, even in silence. Trust that. Trust the invisible. Speak into it as though it were soil, rich, fertile, faithful. The word you plant shall not be barren. It must bear fruit. It must take form. It's about 3 days, and then 3 more, and then again. Let your inner speech be sacred. Let it be deliberate. Let it be drenched in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Speak the words as though they were precious stones. Speak as though each phrase is a step on holy ground, because it is. You are shaping eternity with every syllable you dare to believe. And this power is yours. It has always been yours. From the moment you said, I am, you claimed it. Now let it speak through you. Let it live through you. Let it write the story of your life, not by chance, not by fate, but by the conscious, repeated, faithful use of the inner world. For 3 days do this, and behold the beginning of your new world. And as you continue in this holy practice, something in you will shift, not with noise or spectacle, but quietly, like the turning of a page. You will feel it before you see it. A new confidence, a new ease, a strange and beautiful calm rising within. It will not matter that nothing outside has changed, because something within has. And that is where the real power lies. When the inner man walks in certainty, the outer world must eventually conform. It's not optional, it is law. You will begin to notice that people speak differently to you. Situations once filled with resistance now move with fluidity. The delays dissolve, the heaviness lifts, and the once distant dream draws near. Why? Because you stop talking like one who lacks. You stopped murmuring doubt and fear. You began to speak as the one who has. And the one who has is always met with more. Let no one deceive you into believing that this power is reserved for a few. It is yours as surely as you are breathing now. It is not for the clever, the educated, or the strong. It is for the one who dares to believe, the one who dares to say, even while everything screams the opposite, I am already it. That one will walk through doors others cannot even see. Speak to yourself now as though you have already arrived. Speak as though you were writing a letter from the other side of the breakthrough. Say, I remember when I used to wait, and now I simply receive. I remember the tension, but now all is flowing. It came easier than I ever thought possible. Everything aligned, and I hardly had to lift a finger. Say this not with strain, but with peace. Let it feel like a memory. Let it carry the softness of something you've already lived. And if the old voice returns, the one that says you're being unrealistic, the one that points to facts and evidence, smile at it gently. Do not resist it, do not fight it. Simply speak again the truth you've chosen. Your new inner speech is not for convincing the world. It is for conditioning the mind. The facts are not final. The truth is within, and what is within, when persistently spoken, becomes the facts of tomorrow. Keep your mind in the state of fulfillment, not just in words, but in feeling. Feel the ease, the satisfaction, the quiet joy that comes when the desire has been fulfilled. And then speak from that place. Of course it's done. I've seen it, I've felt it, I walk in it now. This is not pretense. This is the most sincere act you can perform. For nothing is more sincere than believing in the unseen more than the seen. This power in you is ancient. It is the original voice, the voice that said, let there be light, and there was light. You have inherited that voice. You have been entrusted with it. You carry it with every I am you utter. So say only what you wish to live. Refuse to speak against yourself again. Refuse to declare things as hard or distant or impossible. Instead say, it's unfolding perfectly. The way is clear. I am already there in consciousness. And what you are in consciousness, you will be in form. It must be. The law is always at work, whether you observe it or not. But when you observe it, when you engage with it consciously, you become the master. You become the cause. And the world becomes your echo. You do not need to know how it will happen. That is not your concern. The bridge of incidents is not your creation. Your role is to assume the end and to stay faithful to that end with your inner word. The means will present themselves, sometimes so naturally that you will forget you ever spoke the desire aloud. But in quiet moments you will remember. You will remember that you planted the seed and now you eat the fruit. So walk through your days with this knowing. Carry yourself differently. Sit with more peace. Move with more trust. Let your internal dialogue reflect the dignity of one who knows all things are already theirs. Not someday, not after the struggle, now, in this very moment of acceptance. For the moment you claim it inwardly, the world begins to move. It may be invisible at first, but the movement has begun. This speech, this inner liturgy becomes the backbone of your reality. You will find that you no longer react to outer events with panic. You will speak even in the midst of chaos, all is well with me. This too is passing through on its way to my highest good. And by speaking that, you calm the storm. You anchor yourself in the unseen. You become unshakable. What you say to yourself when no one is listening is the most sacred speech of all. It is the conversation of creation. It is the temple where worlds are born. Guard it. Tend it. Nurture it with love and repetition. Say what you want to be true, and say it until it is the only voice that lives within you. And remember, even when you do not see results right away, you are not failing, you are becoming, you are aligning. You are strengthening the new reality with each phrase, each repetition, each moment of loyal silence in the face of the old. Nothing is wasted. Every declaration counts. Every assumption has weight. You are sculpting the unseen with every syllable you breathe into being. So continue. Continue when it feels dry. Continue when it feels empty. Continue when the world says nothing is changing, because the greatest changes begin in silence. They begin in stillness. And then, like the slow breaking of dawn, the light appears. Your world becomes your world. Your assumption becomes your experience. Your inner voice becomes the voice of creation itself. You will wake one day and realize you have become what you spoke. That the life you once imagined has become the ground you now walk upon. That the tone of victory you carried in silence now rings aloud in every area of your life. And all of it began when you dared to talk to yourself. Like this. So now, having spoken the word, keep it alive. Let no outer circumstance pull you from the truth you have claimed within. Walk on in the confidence that your inner speech is the seed, the way, and the fulfillment. 3 days of faithful assumption, of speaking only from the end, will set in motion more than years of effort without belief. Let this be your sacred discipline, to speak to yourself as one already in possession, already free, already transformed. And as you continue, not just for 3 days, but for life, you will come to know, through personal experience, that the inner word is the one true cause, and all things must follow it.
I will teach you how to think correctly, not as the world thinks, not as fear thinks, not as reason alone thinks, but as imagination thinks. Pure, undiluted imagination. For thinking correctly is not about reasoning better, but imagining rightly. Man's thoughts, left to drift like leaves in the wind, will lead him down paths of mediocrity, suffering, confusion, but let man assume the power to direct thought consciously, intentionally, and he becomes the master of his fate, the author of his world. We are told in Scripture, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But this heart is not your flesh, it is your imagination, your subconscious conviction, the secret chamber where thoughts are clothed in feeling and projected into form. You think you are thinking when you worry, when you repeat the facts, when you argue for your limitations. But that is not correct thinking. Correct thinking is disciplined imagination, guided by the assumption of already being that which you desire to be. Let me be perfectly clear, your outer world is not happening to you. It is happening through you and because of you. The world is your mirror, always reflecting the quality of your thoughts. When you change the content and character of your thoughts, the reflection must change. But if you continue to observe the same outer conditions and think in reaction to them, you only perpetuate their reality. Correct thinking begins when you cease reacting and begin imagining. When you interrupt the cycle of cause and effect and enter the realm of creation. I tell you, the only thing you ever need to change is your concept of self. Not the people around you, not the economy, not the conditions, but yourself. For the world follows you. You are not the product of your circumstances. Your circumstances are the product of your habitual assumptions. The way you think of yourself, the way you feel yourself to be, that is the secret cause, that is the root, and from that root, every branch of experience grows. When I say I will teach you how to think correctly, I mean I will teach you how to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the only correct thought. For every other thought is a lie. You were not born to suffer. You were not meant to chase after crumbs. You are not here to beg. You are the operant power. You are the one who imagines, and therefore the one who creates. But until you become conscious of what you are imagining, until you take hold of the reins of thought, you will continue to live by default, ruled by appearances and tormented by doubt. Thinking correctly is not complicated. It is not a technique you must memorize. It is the natural act of imagining what you desire and assuming its reality. Assume it in the silence of your own soul. Feel its truth as you fall asleep. Carry its mood through your day. Ignore the evidence that contradicts it. That is correct thinking. It is not about the number of affirmations you chant, but about the feeling you cultivate within. If you say, I am rich, but feel poor, you are thinking incorrectly. But if you say nothing and feel abundance, you are thinking correctly. Let us be done with shallow affirmations and empty words. Words alone do nothing. It is the feeling behind the words that makes them alive. What do you believe when no one is watching? What do you assume in the privacy of your inner conversations? That is your real prayer, your real thought, your real act of creation. I ask you, what are you thinking right now? Is it in harmony with your desire,
or in contradiction? Is it shaped by faith or by fear? Man becomes what he thinks about all day long, but not merely the surface thoughts. No, it is the emotionalized thoughts, the felt thoughts, the ones repeated and believed, that shape his reality. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are conscious of being. Wanting something is not enough. Longing for change is not enough. You must feel it as done. That is correct thinking. To see the invisible and walk in it. To assume the state of the desired and abide in it. I once knew a man who struggled for years with lack. He worked hard. He tried every method. But nothing changed. Until one day he stopped striving and simply imagined himself wealthy. He saw himself signing large checks, walking into elegant rooms, feeling the confidence of a man with more than enough. He did not argue with reality. He did not wait for permission. He simply assumed, and from that day his world changed. Not because of effort, but because of assumption. You must understand this truth. Imagining creates reality. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but always. There is no exception. What you imagine with feeling is projected outward into form. The delay you perceive is not evidence of failure, but of gestation. Do not uproot the seed because you have not yet seen the fruit. Water it with feeling, feed it with repetition, rest in the assumption. That is the secret of correct thought. Every man lives in a state. That state determines the thoughts he thinks, the feelings he feels, the actions he takes. You cannot think correctly while dwelling in a state of fear or lack. You must move to a new state of consciousness. Enter the state of the fulfilled desire. Assume its perspective, speak from its voice, think from its certainty. This is not pretending, it is creation. Pretending is saying one thing and feeling another. Creation is feeling the truth so deeply that it hardens into fact. What is your desire? Wealth, love, health? It does not matter. All things are possible to him who believes, but belief is not intellectual agreement. Belief is feeling. Belief is the acceptance of the truth of your desire without needing evidence. Belief is living in the end. When you think correctly, you do not ask, how will it happen? You say, it is done. You no longer struggle with doubt, because you know the law. You know that the unseen is more real than the seen, for the seen is born of the unseen. Your thoughts are seeds. Each one contains within it the pattern of the harvest. Think correctly, and your life becomes a garden of delights. Think incorrectly, and it becomes a field of weeds. But you are the gardener. You may pluck out the weeds, you may sow new seeds, and you do so by assumption, by imagination, by disciplined, intentional thought. When I say disciplined, I do not mean rigid or strained, I mean persistent, quiet, steady. You must persist in the assumption, even when the senses deny it, especially when they deny it. That is the test. Will you remain loyal to the unseen? Will you walk by faith, not by sight? Will you think from the end, not toward it? That is what separates the master from the novice. The master knows that the world cannot help but conform to his assumption. You are not a passive observer in life, you are a creator. And the substance of your creation is thought, felt with conviction, repeated with faith, embodied with joy. You need no permission, no approval, no circumstances. All you need is the willingness to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the key. That is the secret. That is correct thinking. You may look at your life now and see lack, delay, failure, but do not judge by appearances. Do not accept what is as the final word. The only truth is the one you accept inwardly. If you can imagine something greater and persist in that imagination, the world will yield to it. You do not fight the old. No, you simply imagine the new. You ignore the noise of doubt and trust the silence of your own inner vision. For God speaks in imagination, and your imagination is God in action. Every time you dwell in the end, you shift your state. Every time you feel the wish fulfilled, you rewrite your destiny. You are not bound by past thoughts. You are free now in this moment to think correctly, to choose the highest assumption, to say, I am what I desire to be. And if you will say it with feeling, believe it with childlike wonder, and rest in it with peace, your world will change. It must. You were never meant to struggle with thought. You were meant to direct it. You were never meant to be at the mercy of conditions, you were meant to create them. And you create by imagining, not by wishing, not by pleading, but by assuming. The assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. That is the law. That is correct thinking. Let the world call it delusion. Let them scoff and doubt. Let them cling to logic and probability. You do not need their agreement. You need only your own conviction. For you are the operant power. You are the one who imagines. And therefore you are the one who manifests. So I tell you now, begin this moment to think correctly. Refuse to dwell in what is. Choose instead to dwell in what can be. No, in what already is. Within. Feel it real. Hear it true. Walk as if it were so, and the world will rearrange itself around your conviction. You were told, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is not a metaphor. It is a law. Renew your mind by assuming the new man, the new state, the fulfilled version of yourself. Think only from that place. Let every thought reflect the end you have accepted. Let every feeling affirm your new reality. And if you should waver, return to the vision. Return to the end. Return to the truth that your assumption is already fact. I will teach you how to think correctly. And thinking correctly is nothing more than imagining lovingly, feeling deeply, assuming boldly. It is choosing to live in the end, to act from the answer, to speak from the fulfilled desire. Do this and your life will be transformed. Not by force, not by effort, but by law. You are not a beggar. You are not a victim. You are not a servant to fate. You are imagination itself. You are the dreamer in the act of dreaming. Dream wisely. Dream boldly. Dream as one who knows the dream is real. Think as one who knows he creates. Feel as one who knows he already is. And then watch as the world bows to your vision. Watch as the invisible becomes visible. Watch as your assumption becomes your life. For that is the promise. That is the truth. And that is the power of correct thinking. There is no end to what you can do when you begin to think from the right premise. The premise must always be, it is already done. From this one root, all things grow rightly. But when you think from the premise of lack, of waiting, of hoping, you are thinking from the wrong direction and planting seeds that cannot bear the fruit you desire. The law does not respond to need, it responds to assumption. It is not pity that moves creation, but certainty. You must become so inwardly convinced of your desire's reality that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Feelings are the secret, and they are shaped entirely by your thoughts. When you imagine correctly, you feel differently. You speak differently. You walk differently. Not because the world has changed, but because your inner state has changed. It is that inner shift, that unseen rearrangement, that precedes all visible change. Most wait for something external to give them permission to feel fulfilled. But when you think correctly, you give yourself that permission now. You bypass the need for evidence. You live in the unseen, confident that it will be seen. No effort, no striving, no manipulation is required. Only faith, only feeling, only persistence. For correct thinking is not a single act, it is a state of being. And states are not changed by wishing, they are changed by assuming. By living from a new attitude, not merely thinking of it. You cannot merely say, I want to be free. You must think from freedom. You must feel what it is like to have already been freed. That subtle shift in feeling is everything. It is the line that divides the old man from the new. You will know you are thinking correctly when you no longer seek confirmation. When the desire to prove fades and the knowing becomes natural. You will walk in a world that has yet to catch up to your vision. And you will not be disturbed, for you know what is coming. It is like a pregnant woman who does not doubt the child simply because she cannot yet see it. She knows. She prepares. She smiles. So too must you prepare for the life you have conceived in imagination. That is correct thinking.
To think correctly is to love your vision so deeply that you protect it from every contrary thought, every fearful whisper, every lingering doubt. You will learn to turn inward the moment resistance arises. You will learn to revise the moment something contradicts your assumption. Revision is one of the highest forms of correct thought. It is not about erasing the past, but about transforming your response to it. You imagine it differently,
And in doing so, you change its influence over your present. There is nothing fixed unless you declare it so. You are always free to think again, to assume again, to believe anew. Correct thinking makes you immune to the tyranny of time. You no longer count days. You no longer calculate how long. That question dissolves. For when you feel it real now, time has already served its purpose. You have entered eternity in that moment of assumption. The senses may report otherwise, but you no longer consult them. They are no longer your master, but your servant. You have placed imagination at the center of your being, and it will not betray you. You may find others unable to follow you here. That is fine. This is not the path of the masses. It is the narrow way, the invisible ladder that only you can climb. Those around you may ask, where is it? Where is your success? But you will smile, for you will know it is already within you, already moving toward manifestation, already set in motion by your thought. And you need not convince anyone, for the truth requires no defense. It only requires persistence. Every moment is a chance to begin again. Every breath is an invitation to think correctly. You are not bound by yesterday's mistakes. You are not doomed by a single thought. Even now, you may choose to assume a higher state. Even now, you may inhabit the mind of your ideal self. What would you think if you were already there? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? Begin there. Begin with the end in mind and live from it. That is not fantasy. That is creation. When you close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies your wish fulfilled, and you feel it real, you are building the structure of your future. You may not see the full outline yet, but every repetition strengthens it. Every feeling nourishes it. Soon, it becomes so vivid, so alive, that the outer world bends to accommodate it. The phone rings, the letter arrives, the door opens, and you will know that nothing happened by chance. It was your thought, faithfully felt, that brought it to pass. Do not wait for better conditions. They will never come while you wait. You must make the decision now to think correctly, regardless of appearances. To see the invisible despite the visible, that is faith. That is power. That is freedom. The man who thinks correctly no longer fears the world. He no longer worships logic. He no longer asks permission. He moves with quiet confidence, knowing that all things are subject to his inner world. Do not underestimate the power of a single thought persisted in. A single assumption held faithfully can overturn years of struggle. The moment you claim, I am now what I desire to be, and truly feel it, you set in motion a chain of events that cannot be stopped. Do not look for proof. Do not seek signs. The change has already occurred in the unseen. Your only task now is to remain faithful to that inner vision. Think from it. Speak from it. And above all, feel it. There will be temptations. Temptations to look around and say, nothing's changing. But that is the old mind speaking. That is incorrect thinking. The correct thought says, it is done. It is unfolding. It is mine. You will be tempted to adjust your desires to match your current conditions. Resist this. Do not lower your vision to fit the facts. Raise the facts to fit your vision. This is the sacred responsibility of one who knows the law. If ever you feel lost, return to stillness. Return to the silence within. In that silence, imagine again. Feel again. Choose again. There is no failure unless you stop imagining. There is no defeat unless you abandon the end. As long as you hold the vision, the law must fulfill it. You are not here to predict the path, only to persist in the feeling. The how is not your concern. The end is yours to assume. Leave the means to the law, which knows exactly what is necessary. You are not here to force the outer world, but to impress the inner world. When the inner impression is complete, the outer expression must match it. It is law. Immutable, impersonal, perfect. Your job is not to struggle, but to surrender. To surrender to the assumption that what you desire is already so. And when you surrender in this way, you find that life becomes effortless. People come, opportunities arise, doors open, and you are carried along, not by effort, but by grace. Your thinking creates your world, not your hard work, not your worry, not your logic. Only your thoughts, saturated with feeling and sustained with faith, create the life you experience. If you desire to see something new, you must think something new. You must feel something new. You must imagine more beautifully, more boldly, more freely. The only limitations are those you accept. Correct thinking is freedom. It is the end of striving. It is the end of waiting. It is the end of hoping. It is the beginning of knowing. The beginning of living from the inside out. You no longer ask if it will happen. You no longer ask when. You know it already is. And you feel it so deeply that the outer world cannot help but reflect it. You are the author of your reality, writing with the pen of imagination. Each scene you dwell upon, each feeling you entertain, is another line written in the story of your life. Write with care, write with joy, write with purpose. And if ever the scene displeases you, do not despair. Simply write again, imagine again, choose again. For you are never trapped. You are never stuck. You are never a victim. Unless you imagine yourself to be. You cannot think wrongly and live rightly, nor can you think rightly and live wrongly. Your thoughts are the mold, and life is the clay. What shape shall you give it? That is your power. That is your privilege. That is your divine inheritance. Begin now. Begin with one idea, one thought so pure, so certain, so saturated with belief, that it becomes the foundation of your entire being. Let it be something beautiful. Let it be something bold. Let it challenge every doubt you've ever known. And do not let it go. Nurture it in silence. Carry it with you through the noise. Let it guide your words, your actions, your reactions. Think it again and again. Not as a mantra but as a living truth. Let it grow until it is the only truth you know. You will be tested. Yes. Life will bring before you every reason to revert, every excuse to surrender the vision. But correct thinking holds firm. It does not fight back. It simply continues to assume the wish fulfilled. It remains loyal to the unseen over the seen. And by its calm, consistent faith, it reshapes what is visible. It remakes your world in its own image. You become, in truth, the Word made flesh. Think of any great change in your life. Did it not begin with a thought, a decision, a moment where you said, "Enough. This is who I am now"? That was correct thinking at work. Perhaps you did not know it then. Perhaps you stumbled into it. But it worked all the same. The law is no respecter of persons. It simply follows assumption. What you assume yourself to be, that you become. Not eventually, but now. And the now you accept becomes the world you encounter. You do not need anyone's permission to begin. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need to be healed, or qualified, or ready. All you need is a new thought, deeply felt, consistently held. That is the miracle. That is the turning point. You can decide right now to live as the man or woman you have always desired to be. And in doing so, everything begins to change, first within, then without. Others may not see it at first. They may still speak to the old you. That is of no consequence. You are not here to convince them. You are here to convince yourself. And the moment you do, the outer world will follow. People will forget your former self. Circumstances will rearrange. Events will align. And you will walk through a life that feels natural to you, but miraculous to everyone else. There is no struggle in correct thinking. Only persistence. Only return. If you slip, return. If you doubt, return. If you forget, return. There is no condemnation in the law. It waits patiently for your attention, for your faith. And the moment you give it, it moves swiftly. Not always visibly. Not always dramatically. But always faithfully. Always perfectly. Correct thinking requires no drama. No emotion. No outward show. It is quiet. It is still. It is the deep knowing that what you desire is already yours. It is the refusal to argue with appearances. It is the quiet insistence that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. It is the choice, moment by moment, to remain loyal to the end you have chosen. And oh, the joy of living this way. The peace, the power. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You no longer shrink before circumstance. You create. You allow. You assume. And all the world bends to your assumption. Not because you forced it, but because you believed. And belief is the only force required. Belief, felt as real, is the engine of manifestation. It is the lever that moves the universe. There is nothing too big, too far, too delayed. There is only the question, can you think it? Can you feel it? Can you assume it long enough to become it? That is the only requirement. Not education, not money, not connections. Just belief, sustained and embodied. This is the gift we have all been given. This is the secret, hidden in plain sight. The secret the wise have always known, and the sleeping world has forgotten. Wake up now. Remember who you are. You are the operant power. You are the one who chooses what to think, what to feel, what to become. And with that choice comes all creation. There is no outer power, no fate, no luck, only consciousness, unfolding according to law. If your world displeases you, do not curse it. Change your mind. Choose again. Assume again. Think correctly. And watch the world transform before your eyes. This is not work. This is not effort. This is not toil. This is not toil. This is rest. This is Sabbath. This is creation through stillness, through faith, through inner alignment. And when you live this way, you will be astonished. You will laugh. You will wonder why you ever struggled, why you ever doubted. For the truth will become so clear, so obvious, so undeniable. You are the creator of your world. Always were. Always will be. Do you desire love? Then think from love. Imagine what it feels like to be cherished, pursued, adored. Let that feeling become your atmosphere. Let it color your thoughts. And then do not seek it outside. Know that it is already yours. And let life catch up. Do you desire wealth? Then assume the mindset of wealth. Think from abundance. Feel the relief of security, the thrill of generosity. Think it, feel it, live it, and you will see the symbols of wealth appear, not as your goal, but as the natural result of your new state. The outer world is simply your mirror. It is always reflecting the image you hold within. Change the image, and the reflection must change. This is law. You need not fix the mirror. You only need to fix the image, and the mirror will do the rest. When you truly grasp this, you will fear nothing. You will no longer be at the mercy of events, people, conditions. You will walk in a world of your own making, and you will bless others, not because they have changed, but because you have. And in your changed perception, they must show up differently. For your world cannot exceed your own consciousness. It can only reflect it. So the question remains, not what do I want, but what am I willing to assume as already true. That is correct thinking. Not desire, but decision. Not wanting but being. Not reaching but receiving. It is the mind that says, I already am, and refuses to argue otherwise. That mind is the master. That mind is the creator. That mind is the doorway to all you desire. Would you like me to continue? And so I say to you now, think correctly, and the world will echo your thoughts in form. You do not need to beg life for scraps, when you have been given the power to imagine. You do not need to bow before circumstances, when you are their cause. Assume the noblest, the boldest, the most beautiful state you can conceive of, and live from it unwaveringly. Let the world do what it will. Let appearances shout their lies. You remain faithful to your inner knowing. You remain anchored in the unseen reality you have chosen, for that is the only reality that matters. This is your secret, your gift, your birthright. You become what you think from not someday, not eventually, but now. The moment you dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you create, you make real. And if you will persist in that assumption, no power in heaven or earth can stop its expression. So rise now. Leave behind the old thoughts. Cast off the heavy cloak of doubt. You have learned how to think correctly. Now live it. Trust it. Become it. For in correct thinking lies the key to all transformation, all abundance, all freedom. You are the operant power. There is no one to change but self.